right now, I tried to log on to the website right before we went live. It was still down from just an overload of interest in this.
I'm up.
What you got it up there?
It's up right now.
Okay. Let me check right now. Hold on, guys. What does it say there?
I mean, it's just up. Like I can see the product. I can see the campaign.
Hold on. Let me look for it here. Okay.
I feel like we should play some music while
I
this
know,
happens.
right?
Where's that barbershop quartet?
No, it's still telling me I have to sign in. I don't got it.
That's weird. I don't know.
Okay, so it's saying that as of earlier today, $850,000. Does it list what the campaign is at right now?
Let me go back to the homepage. Oh, it's down.
See?
Damn it.
The interest is so insane, over $850,000, and it proves one thing. It's that fan-backed campaigns and people that actually make products that people want to buy are not a fluke. This product is not a fluke. What he has done is going to have longevity.
Yeah.
It's going to be around for a while.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Did you see he was also getting like some bigger comic book names that were signing up? That's crazy.
Yep. That there. I'm very excited to see where this goes because first of all, he's like one of the hardest working dudes ever.
Yeah.
Like he works his ass off. He also has some of the most insane detractors that you will ever see in your entire life. Have you ever seen them on Twitter?
Dude, have you seen the, he has monetized your haters section? Those are hilarious.
Yep. So $850,000. The pre-order campaign goal was only $350,000.
That's insane.
And they did this all in like almost $1 million in a day.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were saying like it's a fluke, it's a one-time thing. It's not a one-time thing. Nope. And people that actually make products that people want to buy are always going to do well. I do want to show the trailer that he made. I don't know if anybody saw this. The trailer for Isom #2. So I'm going to play this right now. I don't think there was copyrighted music on here, so I think we should be good. So here we go. Put this on screen.
Time is a fascinating thing. We often like to think of it as something that just is. But too many people let the past determine who they are. When true greatness is determined by how one deals with the present. So if I'm helping you, I have one condition.
Yeah. No more quitting.
Time is a gift, Isom. What are you gonna do with yours?
Unreal.
Bro, I'm sorry.
Look, guys, the best thing you can say right now is like a show like this, a lot of what we do, it's critiquing industries that we have big problems with that seem to be ideologically opposed to a lot of what a lot of people in this realm might, believe. But after you do that for so long, people need to take the reins and make new products and create new culture. That's exactly what they are doing here, and it's fantastic to see. Yeah. You can only be critical for so long before the real thought leaders are going to be the ones who push this forward, and they're doing great work over there. Obviously, Ethan Van Sciver is doing it with Cyberfrog and all the things that are going on there. Shane Davis, who I've talked to many times, he's got a variant cover, on this comic book. And just to see that much money, that much interest in something, when they would have you believe that that you're the minority, that a lot of people aren't interested, they do really see mainstream media as a source of validation. Like a lot of people, they don't understand that you do not need the mainstream media. You do not need the Hollywood pipeline to be successful. And it's just more work, right? Like when you go through, I think music is one of the best examples of this, which is like, if you end up with a record label, you're going to make money, but you're also going to have a lot of the infrastructures built out for you, but you'll make more money if you do it on your own, right? And the same goes in these industries. It's twice the work. It's twice the effort. but you get to keep all of the creative control of the things you're making. You get to decide where your product goes. You can interact directly with the fans and create products that you know people are going to want to buy. It's just a much, much harder process. It's a longer road to have to do something like that, when it would be easier to just censor your material, water down the stuff you're making for the sake of being a mainstream media product, and take the quick cash instead. But that's not what these people are doing, and I commend them for it. I have the utmost respect for this type of stuff. I would like to see more of, I mean, there's a lot of this going on in comics, but I would love to see more of this going on in other realms. It's just a lot of these things, there's barrier to entry. Like if you're making movies, there's barrier to entry just on cost and production value and stuff like that. It's very, very difficult. But when we had Samita Armstrong on here, she said, like, look, like if you want to make a movie these days, we had Paul Roland on Friday. He made Exemplum, which I liked a lot. Like I sung that movie's praises. He made it for $9,000. Like he made it for very, very little money, and it's on Tubi right now. You can go watch it. Like it's up there to watch, or you can buy the movie directly. We need people that are both creative but extremely driven to create products that push back against all of the things that Hollywood wants to sell you right now.
Yeah, I think the fear of going without the mainstream support is that you won't make the money, right? And like that could be a very real fear, especially depending on how much you invest into a project. And I will say that these are, you know, as much as I love these stories of things succeeding, they actually are not the majority. They are increasingly, it's increasingly I don't want to say popular, but I think more people know to look outside the mainstream to find entertainment or different projects to support. But there are so many projects out there that don't have the funding, that don't have the money, that don't have the support, that can't get the exposure.
He had to build up his platform on his own, though. That's what I'm saying. It's a lot of work. He spent years on YouTube before this.
Yeah, there are some people who can't thrive on YouTube. I mean, even making it on YouTube to then be able to jump off YouTube and have another project, like that takes a lot of work, and the odds really have to be in your favor. You really have to figure out how to make that happen. And I think
a lot of writers have trouble making it, like going from writing to YouTube, because it's a completely different medium than just writing your feelings out. Having to be somewhat of a personality in front of people. Like I still struggle with it. Like I'm not the most outgoing of people. So to do this every day, it is a little bit of like you have to put something on and be a certain way on camera, and that, like you said, that's not always easy. And if you're selling a product, if you're going to make that your livelihood, you better be damn sure that you're going to be able to make it work. But a lot, not everyone does. So I have the utmost respect for everyone that tries. Like in an industry now, in a world now where people would much rather just take the easy way and not do that, you have to respect the people that try and celebrate the successes of things like this, which do extremely well, and they work together, right? So this is the large scale example of something that's unbelievably successful, but there's ones that make plenty of money and do well on their own. They're just not to this degree of it's not as notable, right? But it's not like they're not making a living. We had John Delarose on here. He makes a living doing comics. He makes a living as a science fiction writer. So it's happening. It's just you have to be willing to put in way more work than the people who just want to check in, check out, and do their 9 to 5 working for these companies. Right. I don't know. Like, is this something is this akin to writing freelance? Like if you want to write freelance for as a writer, right? You have to then write twice as much, twice as often, because you're not on salary someplace, so you don't have the backing.
Well, freelance is like you're doing the writing like you normally would, but you're also looking for your work.
Yeah,
you have to find the work. If you have a company that you're working for, they're providing the work for you. Yeah, usually.
Is that what? Is that like? Was it different before? Like before working here, did you have to do a lot? Did you do a lot of freelance work, or were you always working for a company?
I did a little bit of freelance work, and it is tough because like you might have something and you're trying to pitch it and nobody's interested. So it's like you need the platform to get your product that you've already finished out there, or your idea, and it's tough, dude.
And it's the hard part, right? Like you have to be willing to interact, and you have to be like when he's on Twitter, he has to when Eric July's on Twitter, he uses it very effectively, and they have to do that.
It's why Substack is so popular among independent writers, journalists, and analytical writers, because it gives you a place to put your stuff, and there's also a way to sort of cultivate a following. It's one of the reasons a lot of people who are in the media depend on Twitter, because trafficking Twitter. I know I always refer to this, but there was some documentary about the fashion industry and modeling, and there was a model saying like having an Instagram is a big deal. We've been in castings where they specifically write down how many Instagram followers we have, because it brings attention to what the brands. If we have more followers, it might be better to cast us in the show, even if technically someone else might, be a better look or whatever the fit is. And I think it's similar for journalism or any kind of creative endeavor that involves a media that people need to interact with, whether it be video games or writing. You have to kind of be able to establish yourself and be able to establish, like, there are certain people. Okay, my example here is going to be our editor-in-chief, Cassandra Fairbanks, who, has a pretty substantial following on Twitter, and she's really awesome to work with for a lot of reasons. But when I was first getting to know her, she was talking a lot about her interest in Ted Kaczynski. Obviously, Ted Kaczynski died this weekend. The moment I got the news alert, I just, prepared myself for the obituary that I'm sure, and it was true, that Cassandra had been preparing for a long time, because it's something she's passionate about. Substack, similarly, if you know someone is really passionate about researching whatever, I am more likely to then follow them there. I think with video game projects, I'm not sure where the equivalent hub to find these things.
Well, this is a comic book, not a video game,
but the same thing, like comic book, video games, any kind of like mixed media or media that needs images. I'm not sure where you go to sort of find that stuff.
I mean, a lot of them have subscribe stars. They would have had Patreons, but Patreon proved to be unbelievably bad. Same with Kickstarter. They got off Kickstarter. That's the difference here, is that he's not running his campaign through Indiegogo or Kickstarter. He's built the infrastructure out for his company to be able to do it all on his own. They have a new warehouse and everything. So he's built it the same way a business is. And this isn't just comics. It's shirts, it's hats, it's
everything that comes with being a fan.
It's the action figures. It's all of the things that have to be built out, and it's premium products, right? Like, what a lot of people forget is, like, from what I've seen, at least in the shops out here and in general, especially back in Minnesota, is like when you go to a comic book shop, it's not like, if you have an LCS, it's like 70% Funko Pops or Magic the Gathering, very little in the way of comics most of the time. So the people who are like, look, I'm tired. I'm tired of the product that's coming out of Marvel, DC, and Dark Horse. I'm tired of the identity politics that are thrown into everything that these writers are making and the way that they act on Twitter. I'm going to say the hell with it. I'm going to make my own thing, and I'm going to offer a product to people on my own in a way that can't be squashed by some type of mainstream large-scale tech company. Like, if you're on Indiegogo, which is a lot of these, or Kickstarter, a lot of them have left Kickstarter, but they're on Indiegogo, you still have to worry that something's going to happen. You're still going to have to worry that just one day they get some new person in charge over there and suddenly your project's gone. To build out the infrastructure to make your own product and to do that on your own is a substantial feat, and I think that those things are worth celebrating, because we need to do more of that. If you want to change the culture, you have to make things that people say, hey, I want to go over there. I want to see what those kids are doing. I want to see what those guys are doing. That looks like people are having a good time. They look like they enjoy what they're doing. When I look at most of entertainment these days, I don't get a lot of joy. Like, I don't get a lot of joy, the feeling of a lot of joy from most of it. It all feels so corporate and produced. Like, when I watch people talking about Marvel or DC, not even DC, when I see people talking about Marvel, it feels like a weird type of, there's I've been invested for so long that I'm just here because I have to. Like, I don't get the same level of excitement that people had in phase 2 and 3.
Dude, I think you just hit the thing that I've been struggling with watching movies probably the last 10 years. I just don't enjoy it anymore. It's not fun. You know what I mean?
That's why I watch old stuff. That's why I don't watch things that are newer. I've given a couple of things a shot. Like, I loved Reacher. I always talk about that. Tried Joe Pickett. I liked the first episode, but it never picked up in a way that I found enjoyable. Yeah. Superman and Lois was a bright spot. I found Superman and Lois, especially season 1, to be quite good. But in general, like most of the media today, part of it's my own fault. Like, I have my own negative interpretation of the industry, so it colors my view going in a lot of times, and I'm freely willing to admit that. Like, there's bias there. Like, when I watch old things, like even if it's an old thing I've never seen before, I don't go into it looking for something to be wrong with it, because I know it was made at a time when those types of decisions behind the scenes were less common. When I'm watching things that are newer, I go into it assuming there's going to be something wrong, and I'm looking for the problems. That's on me. That's my own fault, or that's my own responsibility, right? Is to be able to get through it understand it, but not always let it color your judgment on everything you watch. Sure. But I think the end goal isn't always to be looking for things that you have to watch. The end goal isn't to have things where you have to watch for things that are wrong. The end goal is to just find things that you're passionate about, and that is increasingly being found away from mainstream Hollywood.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.